Do you want to get started with leadership and what we've discussed at the conference about leadership?
Sure. So then I'm gonna get the book. So this is the book that was given to us at the GLC, and I'm traveling with it in my bag, and it won't leave my bag, I think, for quite a long time. The whole backbone, refresh backbone, is in there. You're going to be all exposed. I think the time frame is end of this year.
By the end of this year.
To this refresh backbone, and everything is there. And I'm going to talk about one piece of the backbone, which is leadership. And the way it's expressed in the backbone is leadership commitment. And that's the first thing that I like. It's not about leadership skills. It's not about leadership knowledge. It's about commitment. The second thing, which is very, I think, healthy in this refresh backbone and the leadership commitments part of the backbone, is that each of those leadership commitments, and there are 10 of them, is aligned with our 5 values. We have core values, and maybe it's obvious, but what we want to see from our leaders and from our employees has to be very aligned with our values. And this is the way it has been built. You will see in the new backbone that the leadership commitments are exactly aligned with the values. And I'm going to give you some examples. So one of our values, and I start by that, not by coincidence, is passion for customers. We want to be passionate for what our customers do and what we do for our customers. And very aligned with those with that value, we have 2 of our leadership commitments. The first one is customer success and profitable market share growth guide our decisions. So we do things for our customers. That is and should be one of the guiding principles of our leadership commitments. The second one, which is aligned with passion for customer, just to give you an example, what I'm trying to tell you that is that our values and our leadership commitments are strictly aligned. So passion for customer is we work together to deliver one team, one plan. It's very much aligned with that value of being focused on the customer. Whether you're in a function, in P&S, in legal, in commercial, it's the same. Okay? So I won't go through the whole thing, but I think it's very healthy. You will find that our leadership commitments are strictly aligned with our values. Everybody in this room is a leader. Our leadership commitments are about how we work together in this company. So whether you have direct reports or not, whether you're a project leader or not, whoever you are, wherever you sit in the company, these leadership commitments apply to you too. Alexandra.
Yeah. I want to connect back to our employee survey, to our pulse survey we did end of last year. And the feedback we as leaders got from the entirety of the employees on how are we living our values we had at that point in time. And the results were globally for Syngenta horrible. Employees gave leaders the feedback, you are not living up to your values. And I think in this context is really important what Gail said, that leadership commitment and values are aligned. And it's really important that in the values there is something, a very, very strong mentioning about the how we are doing things. Because if we don't focus on how we are doing things, leaders will not live up to their commitments, and we as leaders will not take consequence when leaders don't live up to their commitments. And that was the feedback we got as a leadership team, that employees were missing consequences when leaders were not living up to the commitment and the values. So let me expand a bit on one of the values we will have in future. This is the how matters. How matters how we interact with each other. And it's about diversity and inclusion. We sometimes understand diversity rather narrow in terms of, well, let's have more females in the room. And that's the wrong room to make that comment, because in CRS you definitely are leading in this matter. And I always feel very comfortable when I'm I'm here in Russia and see that I'm not the only woman in the room. But diversity is much, much larger. We discussed this morning our go-to-market investment and what people we are able to attract to Syngenta. What people are we getting? And we are getting very, very diverse people. People with background in agronomy, people with background in banking, people in background in machinery. So it's very diverse what people we get. And we are taking decisions to onboard these people because of their diversity, because we know what we need to get after is really complex, and we can only be successful if we have different ideas and different perspectives in our team to move ahead. If we do that only very rationally and say, yeah, let's hire diverse people because it's better, and don't look on how do we form a team, how do we include people, we're making a big mistake because we're not achieving what we want to achieve. So how do we value as leaders diversity? How do we have people speak up with their different perspectives, value the perspective, but also bring people together in one team? This is a big, big value for us in future because we will need this diversity and we will need a culture of inclusion at the same point in time. So this is a value, and it's also a leadership commitment, and leaders will be measured against their ability to build diverse teams and include people in that. I also want to mention in the how part a commitment to our code of conduct as a value but also as a leadership commitment. And I'm sometimes asked now in the Camp China world, what about our code of conduct? Because we know Chinese companies are doing things sometimes differently than we do. And not only Camp China has in a contract signed up to our code of conduct, but they carry the same ambition forward with us, that we have to live up to a code of conduct and to full compliance. And the level, how we understand compliance, usually exceeds the level what is just a legal compliance, because we have a different business ethics. And what is also expressed in this value and leadership commitment is this commitment towards it. And I can only assure you, from me personally, I have zero tolerance for people who violate our code of conduct and compliance. And you've seen in the last year 2 drastic consequences we've taken in 2 different countries, in Czechoslovakia and in Turkey, that we have said goodbye to people who were not doing it. And I think this is also what everybody has to expect from leadership on the how, that when we say we want to live up to our values. So the feedback from last year from the Pulse survey sank in deeply into this leadership team. And you can expect from us that we perform better in future on the how, with this refreshed backbone and the engagement we had around that in the Global Leadership Conference.